It is Friday, September 2nd. Let's talk PlayStation. Alright, let's start off with something that's a little bit insane. So if you remember a long time ago, there was a PlayStation VR rumor that Sony was going to be releasing a dual PlayStation Move pack for like around $100, and at the time it was like, how could you value that thing at $100? Well, that has now been confirmed coming October 13th on launch day. 2 PlayStation Move controllers, two wrist straps, and 2 USB cords for this thing. Oh, like $100, $120, I think it was on EB Games or something, their website. I don't know how this thing is $120. I don't know how Sony expects to sell this thing for $120. It's like gross, like ridiculously overpriced, considering you can buy used PlayStation Move controllers for literally next to nothing. Like you could probably get 2 Move controllers for easily under like $30 or something. It remains to be seen if like the new Move controllers are like in some way, shape, or form changed a little bit. Maybe PS4 accents are printed on it. Maybe there's like a new like little light bar accent on the Move controllers or something, or if they're just like legitimately just the same damn thing. They do technically have a new model number, so something is probably a little bit different with them, but like clearly I would assume not necessarily be worth that big of a markup. And obviously Sony also actually recommended a long time ago that you should buy new Move controllers and not use old ones because the internal batteries on them are probably going out or something like that. And sure, that's certainly a rational thing to say regarding this issue, but these things are expensive as... I won't say it. Especially considering this whole new YouTube policy thing going on. Have you read about that? Have you heard about this? I won't get into that. Alright, our next news story, Gran Turismo Sport. And unsurprising news, extremely unsurprising news, it's been delayed. So, really not much there. I guess I don't even remember. The game was like slated for, I believe, November this year or something. Obviously, it wasn't going to make that. They're saying just, oh yeah, blah, blah, we need to continue our vision for the game and we need more time and stuff like that. The typical, I don't want to say BS, but for now, the typical BS where it's like, oh, we need more time. Understandable, especially because this is Gran Turismo. We're kind of used to this. Even most other games nowadays, we're used to delays. So yeah, they're saying 2017, somewhere within there, like Q1, Q2. So shouldn't be like, that long. There's actually, this holiday season has tons of games to play anyway, so I'm not particularly concerned. Sucks if you're like a big Gran Turismo fan and you're really looking forward to GT Sport, but they need more time. And as always, delays, let them happen. They suck for sure, but if they need to happen, they need to happen. So let us talk about this one news story that's been making some rounds. So Ashley Johnson, who is the voice actress for Ellie in The Last of Us, was speaking to GameSpot, and she had an interesting quote I'd like to share with you all. She said, but there's also a part of me that thinks, man, the story could stand alone, and sometimes we should just leave it alone. If they were to make another one, though, I would love to be a part of it. This is, of course, referencing The Last of Us, and the possibility of there being a sequel. And that's like something we've been kind of like perusing for the past few months now, which is that Uncharted 4 is wrapped up. Naughty Dog has said, we're slowly starting to brainstorm ideas for the next one, but we won't really get into like the full swing of things for our next game until we wrap up like Uncharted 4's DLC and stuff. So the company is getting close to like starting to like really, who really knows for sure? They could be well into their next project, or maybe what they're saying is true and we should take their word for it. But the reality is, they're going to, be working on a new game, and it's like a matter of like what it is. And of course, we've been talking a few times now about The Last of Us 2, and if that's going to be their next project and whatnot. And I kind of have the same sentiments. I kind of share the same sentiments that Ashley is sharing, which is like the original Last of Us story could absolutely stand on its own. A lot of people feel that it should be left alone, it shouldn't be like touched. But then there's like also people that think, oh, the story was absolutely fantastic, and I want to see what happens. Of course, no spoilers or anything, but it's like, people want to continue that story. They want to see more of Joel and Ellie, and it's just like it's a catch-22. Like, it can go so many ways, and there's a lot of good ways for them to go about doing this, and there's a lot of proper ways for them to say, we won't touch this, but maybe we'll do another Last of Us game in a different, doing different characters or something. It's just like, it kind of gets me a little bit excited because I really want to know what Naughty Dog will do. And certainly there's also the case that they won't do another Last of Us, and they'll do something entirely different, like that sci-fi game that they kind of toyed around with and explored for a little bit. It kind of gets me excited for like what Naughty Dog's going to do. And we're not going to be able to see that for a long time, but Yeah, still excited nonetheless. Now let's talk about EA's Peter Moore. He was discussing PS4 NEO and Xbox Scorpio. He basically said with their dev teams, he said, our dev teams love what they're seeing. He's of course referencing the fact that their dev teams are working on PS4 NEO and Xbox Scorpio, which is not necessarily surprising at all whatsoever. These dev kits were probably sent out, you know, who knows how far back. We know PS4 NEO, their dev kits have been sent out pretty far back now, a few months for sure, maybe even upwards to a year. I might be pushing that, but certainly, like, you know, developers have had these things, you know, in-house for a while now, and they've been working on them, and they are clearly enjoying the extra little power advantage, which is that they can give the games a nice little spruce up, extra frames, extra resolution, kind of the same spiel we've been talking about. Peter Moore also details about how, oh, it's great that, you know, we don't have to stay on this 10-year archaic life cycle anymore. You know, consoles can be updated a little more frequently with the rapidly changing lifestyle and market demand for, like, the latest and greatest. So all makes sense there. But this kind of segues nicely into our next news story, which is that regarding PS4 NEO, and this one is like super rumor, sketchy, this could be complete total bullshit, but it still raises a good point, and it's one we've talked about before, which is that, so basically a Foxconn employee posted this on the internet, a rough sketch of what PS4 NEO actually looks like. And I'm probably showing you pictures of it right now, and you can see it's kind of the same design language of PS4, but it obviously looks like it has sort of like a 3-layered tone to it, which of course PS4 and the leaked PS4 Slim, we know it has a 2-toned, slanted, like, sort of design look to it. And PS4 NEO, apparently, from what this Foxconn employee is saying, is going to have sort of a 3-tiered look to it. It's going to be a little bit thicker, a little bit of a larger system, which kind of makes sense, and that's kind of what we were all kind of leaning towards anyway, since this is going to be a beefed-up system. It's going to be probably going to need a little bit more actual space within the box to house all the components, and of course airflow and all that, you know, engineering stuff that needs to happen to make this thing a capable machine that's not going to explode while it's working. And that's what raises the good point, is that even though this could be complete, you know, a complete fabrication, not real, not true whatsoever, just some guy trying to get attention on the internet, it raises the point, what will PS4 NEO look like? We have touched on that before, but it's like, it really, you know, what will it look like? And some people have asked me, like, is it going to look like a regular PS4, but it's just going to have the new, you know, internals? Will they, you know, do something entirely different? And I'm pretty much of the mind of something related to this, you know, rumor, which is that it'll share the same design language, but I think clearly it will be a different looking box in some way. It'll still have that sort of slanted look to it, and have the same sort of, again, design language. How many times have I said that now? But it'll look basically similar but different, and it needs to be a little bit different too. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, the old PS4 design is going to get retired because we have a slim model now, and that's going to be the base PS4. And now the PS4 NEO, there's got to be that distinction of, like, hey, this is the big powerhouse box. This is the big boy. This is the top of the line one. And it has to look different from the original PS4, because then it's going to, you know, tell people, oh, this just looks like a regular PS4, you know? It's already kind of a big problem when you've got consumer confusion, so they clearly have to make this thing look different, and even more so, make it look a little bit more premium as well. And lastly, just for the hell of it, we apparently know where these leaked PS4 Slims are actually coming from. So MCV is reporting this, and they're saying that they, you know, obviously the consoles are being sold in the UK, but they actually came from UAE, which is not entirely surprising, I guess. I can see how that is certainly, like, a possibility of, like, how that happened, but basically the units came in from there, only a select amount of systems, of course, and it was given out to select, you know, smaller retailers, eBay sellers, and the listings on Gumtree or whatever the hell that thing was called, that website. And that's how it kind of sort of spread out from there. And, like, a lot of the retailers are even saying, like, we had no, like, idea this was happening whatsoever. A few retailers have gone on record to say, like, they feel, like, borderline, like, sorry for PlayStation. Like, oh, this is, like, one of the biggest consumer leaks for, like ever. And the UK has been, like, is pretty tight on, like, street dates when it comes to, like, games and releases and stuff like that. Like, this typically, like, does not happen there, and so it's, like, that's what makes it even a little bit more polarizing that this whole ordeal actually happened in the UK, but that's actually where the units came from. So someone's got to be, like, so pissed off. What I'm wondering is how they are going to acknowledge this on September 7th when they have this event where they will presumably announce PS4 Slim and Neo? Will they just do what they did with PSP Go and pretty much walk up on stage and be like, you may have seen this, here it is? Because really, we know everything about it now. There was even like a review posted. Oh, another thing we actually know about it, I didn't even do a separate news story about this. The Wi-Fi band is 5 gigahertz now, apparently. But like, well, not apparently. Like, we saw like a screenshot of like the manual and stuff, and in the UI when you do an internet connection test, it pretty much confirms that we know everything about it. The only thing we don't know is what the price is going to be, which I would hope they would price it at like $300 US, of course. You know, I give it like a nice little, give it a lower price point, lower point of entry, and that would make it a little bit better for PS4 Neo, which I would hope they'd price that at like $400 at the minimum and $450 at the most. You know, I would hope it was if it's within that range. But this kind of wraps up nicely because this is the last Let's Talk PlayStation before the event. So we will, once the next time you see me, we will like get all the details. We will have the conference and everything. So that is where I say my spiel, which is that you know, follow me on Twitter for like updates. I will, again, this is actually, like I mentioned a few weeks ago, it's still it's me and my girlfriend's anniversary. So I'm not entirely sure what we're going to do, how we're going to plan this and work this out. We might just like do something an entirely different day, or like still go out to dinner on the 7th or something. We have not figured it out. She knows that I do this YouTube channel. She knows like it's important to me to get videos out and stuff like that, and she doesn't mind. We're both big nerds and stuff like that, so she doesn't really give a shit. So, but I'm just saying, like, we haven't figured it out. But clearly I want to watch the event and do a video as quickly as I can. So I guess just follow me on Twitter for updates. And then if I do, you know, I think for sure I'm definitely going to be able to watch this thing live stream and do the live tweets and whatnot. So follow at Mystic Ryan if you want to, you know, be there for all that. And then video shortly after, I would hope. Again, I will figure it all out when that time comes. That concludes this week's episode of Let's Talk PlayStation. Nothing. There was no video this past Wednesday, as I had uncannily sort of predicted and mentioned. I just am still super busy, and I finally ran out of some pre-recorded stuff. Not that I had like that much stuff pre-recorded. I'm usually like about 2-3 weeks ahead on content. Sometimes I have some that are like stowed away for a while that I just kind of forgot about, like the MotorStorm video game teacher video. That one actually I recorded like super long ago, and I just found it on my computer hard drive, and I was like, oh shit, I should probably edit this and upload this. But yeah, so I'm finally out. So I just like, I'm usually on top of it, but shit happens. So I'm hoping next Wednesday I'll have one ready. Hoping. I cannot also make any promises there. Same thing like with that Uncharted 4 review, which somebody else asked me about the other day. Yeah, you still doing that? Yeah, I would love to. Just, I think over once like summer's like officially over and we're going into fall, and you know, I'll be for sure home more often, and sometimes hours at my job go down like going into like the winter time. So I'll probably have a lot of cool stuff to film and whatnot then. And of course, when PS4 Slim like is legit, you know, announced and retailers can sell the damn thing, I'll buy it and do tons of videos on that as well. So just stay tuned, as I often mention. Anyway, that concludes this week's episode of Let's Talk PlayStation. I'm Jarryd Howard. Thank you all so much for talking with me. I'll see you guys next Friday.